Hello, welcome to Lothar's Guitar School and today's episode on harmonic analysis for improvisation of 500 Miles High by Chick Corea. Before we go into the analysis, let's play a few bars. So let's look at the analysis now. It's not quite simple since we don't know exactly which key it is in. When we look at the key signature, it has no sharp, no flats. It does not mean it's in C major or A minor. It just means it's in no specific key. This piece combines principles of functional harmony, of modal techniques, and construction. So let's look at it, how we go upon such an analysis. At first, I usually look at parts where I can see functional harmony. And this is in this piece here, the 2 minor 7 flat 5 to a 5 7 to a A minor in minor. So this is a 2 5 1. This is a 2 minor 7 flat 5 chord, going to a 5 7 chord, going to a 1 minor 7 chord. And the scales that it usually calls for is here clearly Locrian, and the 5 7 here could be either harmonic minor on the 5th degree, coming from A minor harmonic, the 5th degree, or it could be altered, or it could even be a diminished scale. And then let's continue where we have other functional harmonies. I only see a direct functional harmony here, going from a 5 7 in minor to a 1 minor. That's about it that I see in functional harmony. Now let's look at other parts that will help. I usually look at the melody in combination with the chord that gives hints of the scales to be used and their function. And in the first chord, it's very nice. We have here the B, which is the 5, the D, which is the 7, and we have the A, which is the 11, and the F sharp, which is the 9. So this is actually an A minor 7 9 11 chord that could be played, and its inversions over it, but we do not know if it is Aeolian or Dorian, since the 13 or the flat 13 are missing. We don't know what it is, but this is a 1 minor 7 chord. The next chord has no relation to the key of E. So we are in the key of E minor here. Now we go to the key of G minor, and again we have hints by the melody. The D is the 5, the F is the 7, the A is the 9, and the C is the 11. So this is G minor 7, 9, 11, and on top of it we have the 13, which makes that clearly Dorian. And that's my next one chord. We are in the key of G minor. So these are like in a modal piece next to each other, or even more in a constant structure piece where we have the same chord, the same minor 7 chord. If we're here at minor 7, then that makes that a flat 3 major 7 chord, and that calls for Lydian. Doesn't give us the clue here in the melody. Melody just gives us another 6 or 13, but coming from here, the E makes it the Lydian chord. From here we move to the B minor 7 flat 5, and there's no relation between them, except that if you move the bass a half step up, the root moves up and all the other tones stay the same, you end up with a B minor 7 flat 5 chord. That's the relation why this works nicely next to each other. And then we have the 2 minor 7 flat 5, 5, 7, 1 minor 7 relationship here. And this A minor 11 again does not show us if it's Aeolian or Dorian. Both is possible if it's a 1 minor 7 chord. We leave this up for later. The F sharp minor 7 flat 5 is not related to. This is, again, I'd see it more as a modal approach. Unless, if you look at it, you put the F sharp, which it comes from the Dorian, into this chord and use this as an inversion. That isn't F sharp minor 7 flat 5, is an inversion of A minor 6. So that's where this relation comes from in the bass movement, but clearly this calls for Locrian. Again, we move to the next chord, no relation to the F minor 7. They are next to each other, modal relation. This is a Locrian mode, and here we move to a minor 7 chord. And again, the melody shows us here we have an A flat. Okay, that's the minor third. We have the B flat, which is the 11. We have a C, which is the 5. And we have the G, which is the 9. We get closer. We have the E flat, which is the 7. And we have the D twice, making this the 13, making this Dorian. Clearly Dorian, that fits over this chord. And which relation is it in this piece? Well, look at the C minor 11 chord here. The melody lands on the C, which is usually a strong indication that if you have the root in the melody, that is one chord. And if you look at it here, I would say this is the 1 minor 7. Again, we don't know if it's Aeolian or Dorian, no clue. We have just the root in the melody. And if this is 1 minor 7, then we could see this as the 4 minor 7 in the key of C minor. And after the C minor, we move freely again to the B7 altered, which moves to the 1 minor 7 chord. And here we use either the altered scale or the diminished scale, or we could also use harmonic minor on the 5th degree. We got pretty far and are able to play scales over it, but it's interesting to see what Chic actually did. Chic plays a lot of pentatonics, and he used most of the time on this E minor 7 chord the D pentatonic, which has D is the 7, E is the root, F sharp is the 9, the third is omitted, then we have the A, which is the 11, and then we have the B, which is the 5. And surprisingly enough, it does not contain the 13 or the flat 13. It does not tell us anything about Aeolian or Dorian. It leaves it open. Contrary to this chord, which has the E in the melody, and he also plays then a C pentatonic over it. The C is the 11, the D is the 5, the E in the C pentatonic is the 13, and then followed by the G, which is the root, and the A, which is the 9. And he also uses, analog to the here, the F pentatonic. Again, with the tones from the F pentatonic nicely fitting over the G minor. And he does the same here using the C pentatonic. And alas, we are right. C, D, E. The E is the sharp 11. We are right. This to consider this not Ionian. This is Lydian. And uses also the F pentatonic. Both fit nicely over a Lydian major 7 chord. Here he uses very often chromatic lines and goes from Locrian to another pentatonic, which is surprising. We say, well, we could use harmonic minor 5, we could use altered, we could use diminished. I also use very often the Phrygian scale and add the major third to it, which fits nicely over these chords. Then I stay in Locrian, Phrygian, Aeolian. They are then combined in the same key. He uses A flat pentatonic, which is weird because the E flat pentatonic has the E flat in it, which is a non-note that we want to have in the E7. That's to be avoided. It's the major 7. But if you play it nicely in a melodic fashion over it, it works very good. And especially if you use then, goes a half step down to the G pentatonic, similar as to what we had here before. Again, a scale that has everything in it that we need for the A minor scale, A minor 7, 9, 11, but does not show if it's Aeolian or Dorian. It leaves that open. Locrian, yes, that's correct. We are moving modally to another tonal center, the Locrian F sharp minor 7 flat 5. Going here to the F minor 7, Dorian, yes. And interestingly enough, he uses here the first time a C minor pentatonic. The first time he uses a minor pentatonic. So he uses here the E flat, the minor, in his improvisation, which makes that again feel strongly like a 1 chord. And in the others, he uses tensions only in the improvisation through the pentatonic, the tensions, but leaves the flat 3 open. And again, yes, the B7 altered, he uses the diminished 7 chord, the diminished 7 scale very often. So this is the analysis. We moved through several key centers, the E minor, G minor, A minor. You could see that as a separate key center, the F sharp minor 7 flat 5 and the C minor 11. They all relate somehow to each other, but are independent, and that makes this song so interesting. I hope you like this, and hope to see you here soon again at Lothar's Guitar School. Don't forget to subscribe, and let's play a few bars of 500 Miles High using these pentatonic scales and modes that we found out. Thanks for watching and take care. Bye-bye. This was the harmonic analysis for Improvisation of Chick Corea's 500 Miles High. I hope you liked it. Thanks for watching Lothar's Guitar School. Don't forget to subscribe. Hope to see you soon again. Take care and goodbye.